Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables and welcome to my March reading wrap up. So last month in February, I read a grand total of 5 books. Watch out because this month I read a grand total of 6. It's climbing up there. I don't know. There's no reason, I don't know. It is what it is sometimes. And like last month, the quantity wasn't there, but the quality was there because out of all these 6 books, I really enjoyed them all. There wouldn't be one that I'm like, I really loathe it. There are ones that I'm like, they're pretty good. I don't love them, but I still recommend all of them. So yeah, I have 2 5-stars this month. So I feel like I'm doing pretty good overall for the year. Maybe I'm not reading a ton, but I'm reading some really good stuff. And that makes me happy, my friend. So I always start off with like my least favorite working to my favorite. Since there's only 6, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to grab whatever I see because I just picked up the stack. So here we go. First up, I have Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. So I'm doing a whole thing of reading 25 books in 2025. A lot of them are backlist. I do change the list quite frequently. There's just sometimes I'll start a book and I'm like, this is just not going to go well. I added this one to it because it came out last year. So I'm like, why not? I listened to this and I really enjoyed it. I've only read one other Sally Hepworth novel and that was The Soulmate. I liked it. I didn't love it. This is for sure my favorite of hers that I've read so far. It was very interesting. It's about 3 sisters that are foster sisters and they grew up at this place called Wild Meadows. They had a foster mom that was very emotionally and verbally and sometimes physically abusive, and they really bonded together over that, and that's why they became sisters. So now it's many years later, they're all grown up, they're still sisters, but a big kind of mysterious thing has been found at Wild Meadows because it's being torn down. So they have to go back to kind of like the scene of the crime of where they grew up and kind of relive the trauma that they've had. It's told from now and in the past, and you get all 3 sisters' points of views of how they came into foster care. And whew, it's an intense book. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Really recommend it. It does, like I said, have a lot of trauma, especially with the foster care system, because that is also a very flawed system. There are some great foster care parents and there's some not so great ones that you see in this book. So I really enjoyed it and I definitely need to read more Sally Hepworth novels. So let me know which one I should read next. Next up, I have Promise Me Sunshine by Kara Bass Stone. This is her newest book. I read Ready or Not last year, which was one of my favorite books of the entire year. And sad to say, I didn't love this one nearly as much as Ready or Not. And I enjoyed it. I still gave it a 4 out of 5. It was really good. I think more as I think about it now, it might be a 3.5 out of 5, honestly. And that's just because I didn't connect with the characters and I didn't love the love stories much as I did with Ready or Not. So in this book, we have a character named Lenny, and Lenny is really grieving because she lost her best friend 6 months ago, her best friend that she has known since she was a child, and she just is really depressed in a pit of despair and she doesn't really know how to function. She is a nanny and she doesn't really do any long-term gigs because she can't really even be relied upon because of her grief that she's going through. And basically she meets this guy named Miles, who is the uncle of the latest kid she's nannying, and he's like, hey, I see that you're grieving. I have kind of been through a lot of grieving process through myself with both my dad and my mom. So I kind of know how to navigate it and I could help you and I could be like your partner. Anyone that you need to lean upon, to talk to and stuff, I'll be here. If you help me kind of get a better relationship with my niece because he has having a really hard time connecting. So basically that's their deal, is he really helps her through grieving. She helps him learn more about his niece, and it's a very cute book. The romance, it wasn't there for me, but I will say the grieving process is very, individual to each person. I really enjoyed reading about Lenny's progression, how Miles really helped her with it because she was at the point where she couldn't even go to her apartment because she lived with her best friend. She couldn't even go there, and it's understandable completely, but it's a heavy book, but it's also light. Kara Bass Stone has a tendency to write like that, which I do appreciate, but something about it, I just didn't connect to it as much as Ready or Not. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, I'd say. Next up, I read another book on my 25 books to read in 2025, and that is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Another one I half listened to, half read. This is her YA book, and if you don't know, Ali Hazelwood's kind of known for writing a lot of science-y, steamy ones. She's also come up with a new kind of even more steamier series, and I really enjoy all of her books. I really do. So why I waited to read this one for as long as I did, I don't know, but I'm so glad I read it. I really adored it. 4 out of 5. This is all about chess, if you can't tell by the cover. We follow a character named Mallory who loved chess when she was younger. Her dad was kind of a prodigy, she was kind of a prodigy, and then something happened in her family that made her loathes chess and really like turn her back upon it. But now her family is kind of at a financial crisis. She loses her job. She has to take care of her mother, who's dealing with a lot of health issues, and she also has to take care of her two younger sisters. So she's like the mom. And so she loses her job as a mechanic, and she's like, crap, I provided all for my family. But she gets an opportunity to play chess for money, like be a part of this kind of fellowship type of thing. And she's like, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to chess and compete and all that kind of stuff. And there she meets the #1 chess player in the world, Nolan, who's only a couple years older than her. He's fascinated with her. She's fascinated with him. It's basically about chess and then this kind of forbidden romance. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. It's just a really cute young adult romance, and I connected with Mallory a lot because I also kind of felt like I had to grow up way faster than I was supposed to. Like I wasn't a typical 16-year-old, like she wasn't a typical 17-year-old, you know what I'm saying? But it was cute. I mean, it just doesn't have steamy times, which I appreciate. Just a fun YA novel about chess, which I would highly recommend. And the audiobook was also great. Next up, of course, I have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I did a whole video of like a spoiler reading vlog, which does not have a lot of views, which I'm bummed about because I had such a fun time making it, but I don't care. I still like it. But if you don't know, this is the second prequel to The Hunger Games, which came out years and years ago. It's one of the reasons I first started my channel because of my love for that and Divergent and all that kind of stuff. So I was very, very excited for this one. I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes when it released like 4 years ago now, I think about it. That's crazy. And I remember, I've told this repeatedly, but I'm going to keep saying it. I remember when I read it, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because I was like, does this really need to be written? Do we really care about snow? And after reading this one, I've really done a lot of self-reflection and thought, and I'm like, yes, it did need to be written. It really expands upon snow, and you learn exactly how this government came to be and how the Hunger Games came a spectacle like it was, because back then it really wasn't. Nobody cared about it. Snow made it what it was. So I think as I get older, I'm looking even more deep diving, because when I was younger, I think we all predominantly cared mostly about the romance. Okay, we were younger. It's okay. It was a YA series, for goodness sake. But as we get older, we can see a lot of the politics and propaganda, all that stuff. Either way, broke my heart. Loved it. 5 out of 5. Just, I expected it was going to be 5 out of 5. Love Haymitch. Love reading his backstory. There was a whole bunch of characters in here that we knew and loved that I did not know were going to be in this book, such as, I don't think it's spoiling. I really don't. Effie's in it. BT, Wireless, Max, like, goodness me. Plutarch's in it, like just so many amazing ones. So I hope she continues on with this prequel train, because I will read anything she writes with the Hunger Games. Anything. If you want to hear more depth thoughts, check out the video. Next up, I have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. Another 5 out of 5. I was not expecting to like this book as much as I did. I wasn't even planning to read it. Like, I will admit, this was on my anticipated like books list, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, I just don't know about it. And then it came out, and I was like, it's short, I'll check it out. Whew, I need to read all of her books now. This is a 5 out of 5 because of how haunting it was. It was very beautifully written. It has a lot of nature. It has a lot of kind of climate change things in it too. It's just a beautifully haunting book. So this book is going to be difficult to explain, so forgive me. So basically we follow the Salt family. It's Dominic Salt is the dad, and he has 3 children, and you get all of their perspectives as well. And they live on this island that's fictional, but it's kind of actually real. It's based off like a real island near the Antarctic and stuff like that. And there is no one that lives on the island anymore. They're pretty much the caretakers of it. There used to be researchers that came in there because every year seals come there, albatrosses, penguins come to, you know, breed and stuff like that. So they really, the scientists used to study that, also used to study the plant life and stuff. But the island is being taken over by the sea, so everyone has to leave. They also have a seed bank on this island, which is this really underground place where they store seeds in case the world goes to, you know, crap. And they're having to move the seeds. So basically the Salt family is trying to gather everything up and get ready for like them leaving. And then this woman washes on shore, and they're like, what the heck? She's still alive, because the sea around this place is very, very tumultuous. And she is there for a particular reason. She doesn't want to tell them. They're holding secrets. So that's kind of the whole spiel about it. It says, a novel of breathtaking twists, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love. It's about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. And that's the perfect explanation for this book. I highly recommend. If you're a nature lover, I love nature. I love learning anything about animals and things like that. Plants, it's just very fascinating to me. As I get older, I appreciate it even more. So and the family, oh my gosh, the family bond in this book. The daughter, like, sleeps with the seals. Like, she swims with them. She loves them. Like, they're like, she's part of them. And it's phenomenal. 5 out of 5. Read it. I don't think you'd be disappointed at all. The last book I have is Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This is one that I just saw popping up a lot on TikTok and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, the cover and the spine, like the end pages, really drew them to me. Like, it's beautiful, isn't it? Like, it's just stunning. And also the hardback, super cute. It even has a map in it. So look, I'm a sucker for stuff like that. So this book is probably my least favorite book of the whole month. I know. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I just didn't love it as much, but I will admit it's a cute summer romance. If you're just looking for a quick kind of palate cleanser romance of a novel, I would recommend that. And I do love books like that because I was kind of slumpy when I was reading it, so I'm happy to have read it. So this book follows Elle, who is 27. She's a screenwriter, and basically, the beginning of the book, she is about to leave New York because she lives there, and she has this kind of make-out session with this really rich kind of tech guy, and basically he like propositions her like, how much money? And she's like, what the heck? How dare you? And so she's like, I hate this dude. Now, flash forward to like 2 or 5 years later, she has to move back to New York because she's doing a new screenplay for a movie that is set in New York. So she has to research the locations. And she doesn't want to do that. She's really not feeling it. And she's not also writing. She has a big writer's block. But then she house sits for her sister. And who should be her neighbor but that guy she made out in the stairwell with years ago named Parker. And he is the same tech guy. And they basically have a proposition. He notices that she's not writing. And he notices that she writes more when he's kind of around her. Like, he is like her muse, if you will. So he's like, I'll help you go to these locations, help you write if you pretend to be my girlfriend for the summer because I have all these events to go to and I don't like dating, blah, blah, blah. You can tell where this is going, obviously. I liked it. I didn't love it. Elle was a very hard character to love. She really cared very deeply about money because that's how she grew up with. Her mom was did not take help, didn't take handouts, and I understand that. But it really affected her relationship with Parker because he wanted to spoil her. That was kind of his love language, if you will, because that is a love language, gift giving. And she's like, no, it's very important to me that I'm self-sufficient and can depend on myself, which I understand, but I really think she took it to an extreme that debilitated her relationship with him. And it does that in the book at the end. Like, I did not like the ending and the big third act conflict. Like, I don't understand it and how he ended up like, I just don't get it. She's just a hard, like, he fell first and fell hard, but I really never saw her have that put the wall down, if you will. So that's why I gave it a 3.5. But again, it was cute, steamy, summer romance, would recommend it. So that's all the books I've read. I do want to preface by saying I am filming this on the 28th. So we have 3 more days in March. Will I finish anything? I don't know. But I did just start Bridesmaids for Hire by Megan Quinn because I've just heard a lot about this book in particular with Megan Quinn. So I'm like, I want to check it out. And I did start, and I think I'm DNFing. Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I'm trying to be more transparent about my DNFs. I'm on page 100 maybe. I don't know. It's not pulling me in. And the fact that how many freaking pages is this book? Like over 600. Like, it's just so big. I don't know. This might be a soft DNF. I might go back to it. I don't get the hype right now with it, so that's why, but I'm just trying to be completely honest with you. So yeah, 6 books in March. Not horrible, but not the best. But either way, I think overall, if I have 2 5-stars in a month, I will count that as a win any day of the week, my friends. I would love to know what books you read this month. Please let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.